welcome everybody to the NARC All-Star 360 Wing Sprint Cars here at Weed Sport. My name is Thomas Brandon, and joining me in the booth tonight, we've got the two-time Kings Royal champion and pro driver, Shay Apollo. Shay, how's it going tonight?
It's going good. I like that lead in that two-time Kings Royal champion thing.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to make sure that we don't have it be 3 next year. So, so Shay, you have done really well at this track before. What is going to be a key to these guys tonight at Weed Sport?
Well, we can finally run the bottom in 3 and 4. So I think without that glitch being down there, that's going to play a pretty big factor as this place gets completely black through the top of 3 and 4 like it used to. A lot of moisture used to hang out around the bottom of down there. So not very many people used to run in that bottom side of 4 because of that glitch that used to be there. But now that it's gone, I think we'll see some pretty good racing out of 4 down the front stretch. So the key is the patience on the front stretch. So you got to be light-footed on that throttle pedal and keep the car as straight as possible getting down in turn 1 because you got to slow way down. So the guy who can do that for 30 laps and be consistent down that front stretch, I think, is going to be the winner.
Yeah, and you can already see on going into 3 and 4 how the track is already slicking off on the high side here, and we just had qualifying. So definitely going to see them go low tonight in that corner. And you're right, that just being able to get down the front stretch when the track gets slick like that is just super important. Being able to maintain that momentum. Now, you think we'll see that slide line open up tonight in the feature there in 1 and 2?
Oh, definitely. That my favorite line here at Weed Sport. But the key is finding when to use it because I tell people all the time you can use it, but you can't abuse it because there's going to be guys in your way, and you've got to set them up to that you might not make the pass there, but you can pull away there for sure.
All right. Well, we've already got heat race number 1 grading up here on the front stretch, and Tyler Wilson with quick time tonight will start on the pole of heat race number 1, and outside of Wilson will be Bryce Barris. On the inside of row number 2 will be Kyle Matson, and outside of Matson, starting in the 4th position, will be Christopher Jafer. Starting on the inside of row 3 will be Joshua Hart, and outside of Hart will be Todd LeBoux. In row number 4, starting in the 7th position, will be Jake Sonnentag, who just had himself a good race in the dirt late models at Eldora in the NARC series, and outside of Sonnentag will be Patrick Cobb. Starting in the 9th position will be Todd Hutton, and outside of Hutton will be Ryan Wagenschutz, and starting in the 11th position will be Rob Golembeski. I am hoping that I am pronouncing that correctly. So, 11 cars here. Should be top 4, making it to the 24-car A main event. And Tyler Wilson, like I said, set fast time, had a quick lap there in the high 12. So we'll see if he can carry that momentum here in heat race number 1. All right, pace truck is off, and we are under green as Wilson jumps out to the quickly down the front stretch and heads into that high line into turn number 1 with Barris right behind him.
You see already the middle. You talked about it when we came out of qualifying. The middle on both sides of the track is pretty good. So I think right now the key is going to be trying to figure out if you can run the bottom in 1 and 2 to get around everybody because it's single file through the top 1 and 2 right now. 3 and 4 a little bit more open, but that 1 and 2 is kind of where you got to make the pass.
Yeah, you can see Wilson, he's got the top going there, but they are definitely battling there behind him as you've got Matson and Schaefer battling side by side right now in 3rd and 4th with Sonatag, and it looks like the boot right behind him for that, trying to catch up to that fourth and final transfer spot. Because now we've got a 4-car battle for that fourth and final transfer spot heading into turn 3 as Sonatag looks to the inside, looking to make it 3 wide as the boot tries to thread the needle there and he falls back in line. Smart move there.
The 94 Laboob there, you can see him getting into turn 1. That's the toughest part on the track to run that top line. So he's trying to get in and make a pass around the outside, but the problem is when you enter right on that slick, the car just has nowhere to stop. So you try to get up to that cushion as early as possible that he can drive off, but made a good move there and stuck it through 3 and 4 to get around him for that fourth and final transfer spot right now. Kyle Matson and Jake Sonatag now trying to battle and see if they can get back in to this top 4 transfer spot.
Yeah, as Laboob has made himself a little bit of room as Sonatag there got underneath Matson. But back up front, it is all Tyler Wilson as he has gotten himself a nice lead over second place Bryce Barris right now with a 1.5 second lead. He's basically just on cruise control as we are coming down here to lap number 9 of 10.
2 to go coming out of 4 that time with Laboob almost pulling off the slider in 3 and 4, but now he's opened himself up to losing that fourth and final transfer spot because Jake Sonatag to the inside, trying to run the bottom side in 3 and 4. They're going to come off the corner. Laboob and Kyle Matson getting into each other a little bit there, but Sonatag out in front now pulling away as he gets around Christopher Schaefer coming to the line. Checkered flag waving this time. It will be Jake that hangs on to that Christopher Schaefer that hangs on to that fourth and final transfer spot. Laboob just kind of got caught up in a couple little messes there at the end, but
yeah,
they'll be starting the B main on the front row.
Very, very nice run there. Tyler Wilson with the win, followed by Bryce Barris, and then you had Sonatag and Schaefer with the 3rd and 4th place finishes. So those 4 will be heading on to the A main event as heat race number 2 is now lining up, and on the pole is Daniel Kelly. Outside of Kelly, we have Connor Dudek in this number 2 position. On the inside of row number 2, starting in the 3rd position, is Timothy Alton, and outside of Alton is Jordan Eder.
Row 3 going to be Chris Mark Antonio in that 5th spot with Joshua Berkey on his outside. Row number 4 going to be Larry Moody in the 7th spot with Jacob Ludwig just outside of him.
In number 9 position, we've got Ryan Snyder on the inside of row number 5, and outside of Snyder is Philip Croach starting in the 10th position. And then in the number 11 spot will be Kevin Grettenberger. So 10 laps, top 4 once again going straight to the A main event as we've got Kelly and Dudek that will bring us to the green flag here next time by.
You saw turn 1 get pretty treacherous there already. It's getting pretty dark and dry through there, so these guys, I think the bottom's going to sneak in on some of these guys here as the entry to 1 really widens out. So if you can get that car slowed down enough and nail the bottom, I think that's going to be the play here for the rest of these heat races, at least for this one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed that when you run here, especially in the league races, as slick as the track gets, if you can get the car to work on the bottom, it can be really fast. It's just so hard to do because it's so easy to overdrive the entry of turn 1 here. All right, pace truck is off, and we are under green as Kelly jumps out to the quick lead. Over the deck, followed by Alton, Eder, and Mark Antonio there into turn number 1.
Now, Alton left behind a little bit on that start, so the couple of guys on his outside got by him, and now he's battling, just trying to hang on to that 4th and final transfer spot. Here comes Joshua Berkey, moving up 2 spots early on. Timothy Alton outside looking in right now is the leader, Daniel Kelly, running the bottom through 3 and 4, so we're seeing that line open up already early on, and you can see him trying to hit the bottom there in 1 and 2, just overshooting it just a bit. You can see that right rear all the way through the slick in 2. That's how slow you have to go to get through 1 and 2. He slowed way down, and it still was too fast to go into 1.
Yeah, it is definitely a hard line to run. You can see why it's why it's preferred to just slide all the way up to the top, because you have to really slow down to get that thing to hook up. Otherwise, you just get stuck in no man's land. As Dudek now is coming to the outside and challenging for the lead. He's got a heck of a run out of 2, followed by Eder. Eder got the check up there, though, as Kelly slid up in front of him. So we have a new leader as we come down here with 5 laps to go, as Connor Dudek is now leading Daniel Kelly, followed by Jordan Eder and Joshua Berkey in that 4th and final transfer spot.
Philip Crowish back there in 6th, though, not giving up quite yet. He's moved up 4 spots already. Creeping in on these top 4 guys right now, and Eder looking for anything that he can find just to hang on, because right now he's getting into 1 and 2. A little off pace, loses a spot there to Philip as he gets by him, but again, this 3-4 car battle for these final transfer spots, and it's all coming down to where everybody's running in 1 and 2. You see Philip making up hay now on the bottom.
Yeah, Krowich has definitely got that bottom working, as he is about a 1/10 of a second faster than the 2 cars in front of him, both Kelly and Berkey. Berkey, who he's just getting around right now. So he's definitely got that bottom working. He's able to stay under the slick, and he's got a great run down the backstretch there, pulling ahead of Kelly heading into turns 3 and 4, as Dudek is coming down here for the white flag and 1 to go.
Eder into the wall. That's going to end his hopes, I think, for that 4th and final transfer spot. These 4 up here right now just got to get through turns 4 clean, and they will. Dudek will win the heat race number 2, followed by Daniel Kelly, Philip Crowish, and Joshua Berkey onto the A main.
So a heck of a run there for Dudek and Croach, who moved himself up 5 spots, 6 spots. What was it? He moved up quite a bit there to grab that 3rd place finish. So heck of a run for him in heat race number 2. On our way to heat race number 3, which is gridding up now, and on the pole for heat race number 3 is Joe Howe, and outside of Howe in the number 2 position will be Jeremy Weigel. Starting inside row number 2 in that 3rd position is Kurt Ney, and outside of Ney is Christian McCartney.
On the 3rd row, starting P5, going to be Caleb Wankel. To his outside is going to be Dylan Evers. Row number 4 in that 7th spot, going to be Dylan Simmons. On his outside, Robert Boggs in the 8th spot.
On the inside of row number 5 will be Jeremy Garand, and outside of Garand will be Ryan Washock in the number 10 position. And starting in the 11th spot will be Seth Hagen. So once again, 10 laps, top 4 go straight to the A main event. You can see the track is already slicked off quite a bit in heat race number 1. It looked like everybody was running the top, and we saw in heat race number 2 we had people on the top, and then we also saw Croach really getting that bottom working. It's going to be interesting to see here what happens, as we've got 2 lines that have definitely opened up here heading into heat race number 3.
Yeah, I think that bottom, like we saw Philip run there in that last heat race, is still going to be the way to get around guys right now, especially getting, the only place with that much moisture on the exit of the corner. 3 and 4 right now. A lot of slick on the exit of the corner, but we're getting ready to go. Green is Howe. Going to lead him out of 4 with a pretty good jump there. Weigel staying with him, though, in that 2nd spot. Up to the cushion. Some contact at the back. Off the inside wall there on the entrance. You guys out. Joe Howard got himself inside the lead over Jeremy Weigel, already heading into lap number 2, and you can hear just how much he's letting off to keep his car down below the slick there going into 1 and 2. Yeah, that's the key. I mean, the marker here, especially getting into 1 and 2, is the flag stand. Really, you've got to be out of the gas, getting that car turned by a or otherwise it's too late. Right now, I think the bottom's obviously the way to go, but I think the cut down line might be pretty good too. If these guys aren't as comfortable getting down to the bottom in 1 and 2, they're kind of inter wide right now, and diving really hard off that cushion. But Joe Howe just kind of putting on a clinic at the front of the field right now with a 2nd lead over the rest of these guys. Yeah, as we've got a battle shaping up here for our 4th and final transfer spot, is Dylan Simmons and Christian
McCartney are battling out here, as Robert Boggs is also pulled up to join the party, as these guys are battling here on the low side for this fourth and final transfer spot here in heat race number 3.
That might be the move right there. The 92 of Christian McCartney nails the bottom in 1 and 2 and gets around him. Now it's about hanging on, because 3 and 4, there's not much room to go through the bottom, so I think the top's going to come back in that side. He's nailing the bottom of 1 and 2 right now. And we're going to see Dylan J. Simmons have to try and find something here for these last 2 laps. We come up on lap 9 here for Joe Howe.
Yeah, Howe is putting on an absolute clinic, as he's got almost a 2-second lead over second place Jeremy Weigel, followed by Kurt Ney and then Christian McCartney in that third and final transfer spot.
White flag that time by. Top 4 kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field right now. They just got to finish clean.
And Joe Howe's going to take the checkered flag and win heat race number 3, followed by Jeremy Weigel, Christian McCartney, or Kurt Ney and Christian McCartney. So really good run for Joe Howe. He can do that in the feature. He is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, because that was a very, very good run there. He had that line empty. Bottom 1 and 2, top 3 and 4 was definitely working for him.
I think when he bounced off that wall early, it kind of opened his eyes to settle down on that front stretch a little bit, and that's when he really started taking off too, because you can see the bumps really starting to come into play on the front stretch quite a bit.
Yeah, less is definitely more at this track. All right, heat race number 4 is now on the track, and starting on the pole is going to be David Flick, and outside of Flick in the number 2 spot is Brandon Boyles. On the inside of row number 2 is Dakota Hartsell, and outside of Hartsell will be Cale Heilbit.
Starting in P5, going to be Sam Price on his outside, and P6 going to be Brandon Garment. Starting P7, the row behind him in row 4 going to be Jeremy Prey and Alex Kloop to his outside.
On the inside of row number 5, in the 9 position will be Al Denton, and outside of Denton, starting in the 10th position, will be Jared Culbertson. So, once again, 10 laps, top 4, straight to the feature here in heat race number 4, as Flick and Boyles will bring us down to the green flag this time by.
Pace truck speeding away as Flick gets ready to take the green coming out of 4. He'll get an early jump there. Nice jump for Flick as he gets in the line into turn 1, and that's the issue you run into right there. Big contact for second and third, and it's leading to a whole bunch of mess out of 2 as well.
Yes, as Garmin and Heilbit. Heilbit actually got caught up in it, was able to save it and get through, and Garmin came through the pile of manure and came out smelling like a rose, as he just moved up to that second position as everybody got caught up in that mess in front of him.
Jarrett Culbertson was the big winner in that one. He finds himself 6 spots up already in a transfer spot back there in 4th, but turn one of every race here is always, you know, it's going to set the tone for the rest of the way. There's always that fear that somebody might get in there a little too hot or hit a bump on that front stretch and not be able to turn the car in, and that's exactly what happened. A couple guys lost out.
Yep, and you can see Flick kind of mimicking that line that Howe was running, rolling down to the bottom there in 1 and 2, and then trying to run the top in 3 and 4. Letting off really early down that front stretch, getting way out of that gas as you slide all the way up that corner and getting into that stretch. Oh, and he gets close to the inside wall there, and luckily he's got quite the buffer over second place. He's able to gather himself back up and continue on without losing any spots, as Brandon Garmin, Cale Heilbit, and Jared Culbertson are all finding themselves relatively close to each other there in second, third, and fourth, as Sam Price has moved himself up to 5th, looking to catch Culbertson for that 4th and final transfer spot.
Culbertson, a little trouble there in turn 2, and he's going to go around. Got the inside wall and then got tagged by Sam Price as he was trying to get it straightened back out. That's going to give Sam Price that 4th and final transfer spot with 3 to go.
Yeah, bad luck for Culbertson there after he was able to capitalize on that early wreck there at the start of the race and move up to fourth. Just barely caught that inside wall, but like you said before, that's all it takes here. It doesn't take much, and if you catch that inside wall here, man, those things can just reach out and bite you.
Yeah, especially with 1 and 2, it's almost like two separate corners down there where you've got to get into, especially if you want to run the bottom as the white flag comes out for these top 4 guys right now. A lot of space between them and the rest of the field, but you've got to turn the car in once and then get back on the gas and then turn it again if you want to run the bottom getting out of 2. So it makes it pretty tough, but Flick going to hang on for this Heat Race 4 number win. And Brandon Garmin, Cale Heidel, and Sam Price going to go with him to the A main.
All right. Heilbit's kind of thrown me there for a loop, man. He's got himself a different number this season. What the heck? Don't like change, Cale. What's going on, man? All right. So we should be lining up for our D main. All right. D main tonight. 7 cars will be here in the D main. Top 4 will move on to the C main. And starting on the pole here in the D main will be Todd Hutton. And outside of Hutton in the number 2 position is Ryan Snyder. On the inside of row number 2 will be Jeremy Garand. And outside of Garand will be Brandon Voiles.
On the 3rd row to the inside, going to be Ryan Wagenschutz. On his outside P6, Jacob Ludwig. And at the back of the field in P7, Seth Hagen going to be starting from shotgun on this one. And looking to move up just a few spots, a small D main field if we're going to transfer, and we also lose 2 laps, so something to keep in mind as well for these drivers.
Yeah, most definitely. And as the track is getting more and more slick, it's just going to get tougher and tougher, and these guys are going to have to just have to be patient. We've seen turn 1 on the last 3 heat races collect people at the start of the race. So we'll have to see what happens here going in. As we, like you said, we've got only 7 cars. Top 4 will go to the C main and only 8 laps in which to get that top 4 position.
That turn 1 is the hardest turn on iRacing dirt right now, in my opinion. I can't think of anywhere else where, you know, if you can run that line to perfection, you've really figured out how to play this game, so to speak. But I mean, Fairbury running the top, not as tough. Charlotte running the bumps, not as tough. This track is just so unique in the way the angles of the corners are that this is kind of really it's one of the more fun tracks to run. But you know, you've got to be so patient getting into that turn 1.
Yeah, most definitely. So the pace truck is off, and we are underway as Hutton jumps out to an early lead, followed by Snyder, Garrett, and Foyles there in that 4th and final transfer spot. And oh, as we had contact there coming out of turn number 2 as Jeremy, Garrett, and Ryan Wagenschutz got together. So that's going to, or excuse me, Ludwig it looks like. So that's going to help Ludwig move up there to that 4th and final transfer spot as Todd Hutton comes down in the lead there.
Yeah, 3-car battle really for this lead right now. I think these guys got to look behind them and realize that they're into the next one if they can just settle in a little bit here and you know, not race each other too hard. I think that's always the risk you run. You want to win every time you're out on the track, but sometimes you've got yourself in a transfer spot and it's not worth it trying to, you know, make that one extra pass. But Brandon Voiles right now really running great lap times. He's able to pull out to a pretty nice lead now, getting to 1 and 2. He's kind of running that slider line a little bit, not letting it go all the way out to the cushion, but battle is kind of on for 2nd again as they're giving each other plenty of room. But Ryan Wagenschutz has kind of pulled away a little bit more from Ludwig than it was early on, and kind of giving himself some breathing room as we got 3 to go that time.
Yeah, Wagenschutz right now is about 0.2 of a second faster than Ludwig, so what he's got going on is definitely working if he can just maintain it. He seems to have found something there on the line that he's running. But back up front, Brandon Voiles is pulling away from 2nd place Ryan Snyder and 3rd place Todd Hutton as we come down here to the white flag of the D main event.
Ryan Wagon's just trying to make a run here, trying to get himself one more spot for that C main. Good run down the backstretch. The battle on for third now. Hutton going to go to the bottom. Wagon's just trying to run the cushion out of four. He's going to have some momentum and coming out to the line. He will take that third spot. Good run for Ryan Wagenschutz to recover early on from that little bump on turn one, but recovers and gets himself a couple more spots and gets into that C main.
All right, so top four from the D main moving on, and they will find themselves here at the back of the C main, which is now gridding up. So C main on the track, 10 laps, top four from the C main will move on to the B main, and starting on the pole here in this 10-lap C main event will be Patrick Cobb, and outside of Cobb, we've got Chris Marcantonio. On the inside of row number 2 is Dylan Evers, and outside of Evers is Jared Culbertson.
Starting row 3, P5, Rob Golembeski on the inside. 2 is outside, going to be Kevin Grettenberger in P6. Row number 4 in P7, going to be Caleb Wankel. To his outside, Al Denton in P8.
Starting in the 9th position inside of row number 5 will be Brandon Voiles, our winner from the C main event, and outside of Voiles is Ryan Snyder. Starting on the inside of row number 6 is Ryan Wagenschutz, and outside of Wagenschutz in the shotgun position, starting 12th, is Todd Hutton. So, C main event, 10 laps, top 4 move on to the B main.
It's time for feature setups now, boys. This track is completely gone, and 10 laps here. Take some fuel out of your feature setup, put 30 wing in that thing, and let it rip.
Exactly, yeah. If your wing is anything less than 30, I don't know what you're doing, because right now you need as much downforce and grip as you can get, because she is slick. Makes me glad I'm kind of glad I'm up in the booth tonight and not down there on the track.
But these are the fun ones right here. This is where you learn, and if you can figure this out right now and get it dialed in, if you're in this C main and then you're in that B main, you get to that A main, you've got an advantage on everybody that hasn't been in these sets. So kind of fun to be out there right now, but you've got the 813 of Dylan Evers right there in third, and we talked to him a little bit earlier about this track. Practiced like for 300 some laps earlier, so I think he's got something dialed in. We'll see. Keep an eye on him as this one gets ready to go green.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on him, and the man bringing us to the green flag here, Patrick Cobb, as we are underway, as Cobb jumps out to an early lead over Marcantonio, followed by Evers, Culbertson, Golembeski, and Grettenberger.
Much cleaner there through turn 1 for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's definitely the first time we've seen that since heat race number 1, which is a good sign.
You can see Evers really trying to slow that car down early into turn 1. Good for him to take down that backstretch. Yeah, we keep those left sides all the way in the grip down that side of the track, but I think the top is still pretty good in 3 and 4 right now if you need to go up there and make passes to these guys, but again, only 10 laps, only 4 going to go. It's time to move.
Yeah, definitely, as we've got ourselves a 5-car battle here for 4 spots. As we've got Cobb, who's slowly pulling away, and Golembeski, who's moved himself up to second, followed by Evers and Culbertson now in that 4th and final transfer spot. He's riding along with Evers. You can hear just how much he's off the throttle. He's so slick right now.
Yeah, these guys right now, they've got to be so patient on the front stretch. The front stretch sets up everything for this entire lap every time you go around. If you can set up, your entry into 1 just how you need it to be, the rest of the track feels a lot easier than it is if you mess up turn 1 and 2. But again, these guys are all kind of just right there hanging around and right behind 4th. The battle's on, but nobody's really had the drive to move up and found some grip down that backstretch to make passes into 3 and 4.
No, definitely. Right now, you've got to be right up on that wall or right down on that, right next to the infield if you want to get any run down there, down the backstretch. You can see Evers up high and Cobb down low, and Evers got himself a good run there heading into 3 as he's slowly reeling in our leader as he was 0.2 of a second faster last time around.
There goes Brandon Voiles to the inside now. He just picked up 2 spots through turns 1 and 2. Dropped Golembeski back to that 4th and final transfer spot. And Brandon Voiles up into that 4th spot right now. He's in that final transfer spot with Golembeski trying to pull in tow right now. A little bit of contact through 1 and 2 there. That's going to set a couple guys back for sure. It's going to be Culbertson finding some luck there through 1 and 2. He got through there clean. He's in that 4th and final transfer spot now. Caleb Wankel into the back of him a little bit as they got, that was the checker flag.
That was checker flag. As Evers was able to get around Cobb for the win. Evers, Cobb, Voiles, and Culbertson with that 4th and final transfer spot. So those 4 will head on to the B main event, which is now grinning up here on the track, and it's going to be 12 laps. And if I am remembering correctly, it's going to be 4 or 8, Shay, that are going. We had
It is 8 going through
8
this
going. All right, so 12 laps, top 8 to the feature, and starting on the pole here in the B main. In the number 1 position is Todd LeBoob, and outside of LeBoob is Jordan Eder. On the inside of row number 2 is Dylan J. Simmons, and outside of Simmons is Jeremy Prey. On the inside of row number 3, in the 5th position is Joshua Hart, and outside of Hart is Timothy Alton. Inside of row number 4, starting in the 7th position, is Robert Boggs, and outside of Boggs is Alex Clute.
In row number 5, going to be P9 for Kyle Matzman. On his outside, going to be Larry Moody in 10th. Ryan Wayshock behind them in row number 6 on P11. To his outside, going to be Dakota Hartsell.
In row number 7, our C main winner, Dylan Evers, and outside of Evers is Patrick Cobb, and starting 15th is Brandon Voiles, and our 4th and final transfer from the C main event, starting in the 16th position, is Jared Culbertson. So, 12 lap B main event, top 8 here to the feature, as we've got LeBoob and Eder bringing us down as the pace truck is off the track. And we are underway for this 12-lap B main event as LeBoob jumps out to a quick lead, sliding up to the top there with Eder, Simmons, and Prey behind him.
With the whole field through 1 and 2 pretty clean. If you're at the back of this field right now, you've just got to be patient. I know there's only 12 laps, but there's very little room to go anywhere right now on this track. Got to be hoping for some mistakes, and you can pick guys off little by little. But right now the top 4 kind of separated themselves a little bit from Jeremy Prey, kind of running every line through 3 and 4 right now. As they're 3 wide coming out of turn 4 for that second spot. They'll settle back in single file through turns 1. Eder, they're kind of getting a little into the back of LeBoob there. That's going to set him back just a bit and put Jeremy Prey kind of back into this picture now.
Yes, definitely, as we've got Simmons, Alton, LeBoob, Eder, and Prey, your top 5. And right behind them is Boggs, Moody, and Washok in that 8th and final transfer spot, as he's got pressure coming from Hart and Hartzell, looking to make it in to that A main event. Oh!
Little bit of trouble there for Jeremy Prey, but he got it straightened back out, but he lost a few spots now. Larry Moody kind of sitting in the catbird seat now, following Eder through 3 and 4. Eder looking to try and figure something out so he can get around the 15 car or 87 car of Dylan Simmons, but Eder's got some heavy hitters breathing down his neck right now. Larry Moody and Ryan Wayshock just wait for a mistake.
Yes, and in that 8th and final transfer spot is our C main event winner, Dylan Evers. He has worked himself up and is now battling Jeremy Prey as he just took 7th position. So like you said, Evers did about 300 laps of testing, and it seems to be paying off. He's been running the alphabet soup tonight, and it looks like he's got himself in a pretty good spot here to make it to the A main event.
Yeah, a decent battle here for, what is that, the 8th spot? Jeremy Prey and Jared Culbertson kind of going back and forth, back and forth. At the line again, it's going to be Culbertson that time. I think I was saying Ford go that last time, but some contact up in front of them. That's going to give them some breathing room now, as nobody really shuffles out of a transfer spot, but some guys did drop back a little bit. There's a gap to ninth behind him. But here comes Kyle Matthews trying to figure out a way around.
Yep, Dylan Evers is in that 8th and final transfer spot as Matson trying to make his way up there. Right now, he's a little bit more than a second back, but back up front is Timothy Alton, who has absolutely checked out as he is rolling the bottom in 1 and 2 and running the middle there in 3 and 4 as he comes down to the white flag. And you can see just how much he is letting off the throttle, doing an absolutely phenomenal job of rolling that bottom there. And it is showing he has gotten himself a huge lead over second place there, as Alton will take the win here in the B main, followed by Ryan Washock, Todd LaRue, Jordan Etter, Larry Moody, Culbertson, Evers, and Jeremy Prey, your 8th and final transfer. So exciting B main there, as we saw all kinds of movement back and forth up there.
Yeah, I think halfway through there, I forgot that 8 were gone. It was pretty exciting there for 4th and 5th, but there's battles going on all over the place back there for 8th and 9th too. But yeah, like you said, this exciting all the way through the field right now. I think we're gonna have a pretty good run here for this feature, because everybody's kind of settling in. They're patient. They're figuring things out. They realize how slick it is. I think we might have a pretty good feature set up for 30 laps here.
Yeah, most definitely. You saw that there towards the end. The track definitely getting racy now as these guys, basically there's no real dominant line. It's not like you can just go out there and, you know, if you hit this spot with your foot down, you'll be fast. You've got to be using good throttle control. You've got to control that car. Like you said, if you're not letting off by the flag stand, you're going to overdrive turn 1. And we saw Alton there. I mean, he was crawling around the bottom there in 1 and 2, and every lap he was pulling away further and further. So should be a pretty good race as we head into this 30-lap A main event.
Drivers right now just getting everything dialed in, getting the car set up, putting fuel in. We're not going to run any warm-up, so the track will be exactly as it is now for the start of the feature. But again, there's 8 cars at the back of this field right now that have a pretty good advantage over some guys who haven't seen this track since their heat race. And as we get the advance signal there, we're going to get this gridded up here pretty soon. And I'm looking for a couple guys throughout this field that had mentioned they practiced a lot throughout this week. And if they can hit that slider line in 1 and 2 with some space in front of them to land it, you know, not any insider secrets on who was doing it, but I know a few names out there that are pretty excited for this feature tonight to see if they can make some passes and run away with this one.
Yeah, most definitely, as we saw a couple of different drivers that were able to make it through their heat race, through the constellations, Dylan Evers being one of them. We saw Timothy Alton show really good speed. You know, we saw Brandon Garman move up quite a few spots in his heat race. And, you know, Wilson was fast, Dudek was fast, Howe was fast. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this race shapes up here, especially, like you said, with the track the way that it is, because it is going to be one of those lines, you know, that slider line, knowing when to use it and how to do it and not overdriving the corner. It's going to be absolutely critical if you want to pull off the win here tonight.
The leader always has an advantage at this track. The saying is, you know, if you're in second, you've always got a little bit of an advantage on seeing what the line is and trying to catch the guy in front of you. You can do different things. But really here, this is kind of the only track where that's not the case. It's going to be that slider line through 1 and 2 or the bottom if it's not as slick down there. And then 3 and 4 is just about where you can find the most grip and the most drive coming out for the most momentum down the front stretch. But the problem comes in for the guys behind you, because if they do catch you, it's hard to pass on those lines. So if you're in the lead, you've got a more advantage here than anywhere else.
Absolutely. I have definitely seen it play out that way before. particularly in a race with you. I think a season or two ago, I watched that very thing happen as you just got smaller and smaller out my front window there. But we are underway, and Wilson takes the big flag and jumps up to a quick lead over Connor Dudek, followed by Joe Howe, David Flick, and Bryce Bears grinding out the top 5 there, as we have got 4 wide going into turns 3 and 4 there, as something has got to give. Don't want to be pushing it that hard as these guys got themselves sorted out, heading back down into turn number 1. Oh, a little bit of contact there, and that's going to cause a pile up. As you see Daniel Kelly and Jeremy Weigel and everybody trying to get through that mess of cars there, as that collected Flick and Barris and a bunch of drivers coming out of turn 2.
It looked like Knoxville Nationals the other night, getting into turn 1, where a lot of guys had been so far behind the wreck, but their cars were still everywhere that it was hard to get through. And that, you know, that's the risk you run here. You can slow down as much as you want, but if a car is flipping or spinning out sideways, it's unpredictable where they're going to end up. So you saw Kale, a couple guys, I think Weigel was one of them as well. They kind of just get caught up in no man's land and get stuck driving straight into somebody that they, you know, just weren't able to stop for.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you just have nowhere to go, and that was one of those situations. And it doesn't take much, like you said. This track is so technical, and when you've got cars like that running 2 and 3 wide, and somebody just makes the slightest bobble, you know, things back up, and they back up in a hurry behind them, and that looks like what happened there coming out of turn 2.
I know it's a tough call to want to go get your car fixed here, but and lose spots, obviously. But I think if you were caught up in that, there's a couple guys near the front of this field without a front wing right now. This is not the track that you don't want a front wing, so I definitely take the risk of pitting, getting that front wing back on, and just starting at the back of the field. But
yeah, there's a few tracks that happen, you know, not having a front wing I'm okay with. This just doesn't happen to be one of them. It actually does make a pretty big difference here, so we'll see what happens for those guys as the pace truck is back off, and we are back under green as Wilson jumps out to a lead there once again over Dudek, Howe, Kelly, and Croach there in 5th.
Yeah, Phillip, he lost that front wing in that wreck, but he made up the most ground. He gained 5 spots from it. So, you know, he's just going to kind of run the risk right now, see what he can find without that front wing. He doesn't even have a hood cover on that thing. The radiator kind of just exposed, but doesn't seem to be really losing too much ground to guys in front of him right now. A little bit of contact in front of him there between, it looked like Dan Kelly maybe had gotten in the back of
Joe Howe, yeah.
Joe Howe, yeah. So you can see these guys kind of running bottom and top right now. 2 lines forming at Weed Sport like usual. A little bit of caution at the back of the field, I think. Car stopped in 1 and 2 is Larry Moody as he gets it spun back around. Just one of those, again, another one where guys in front of him had some issues and he spun around trying to stop.
Well, tried pulling up the replay there, but could not find it, so forgive me, folks. I'm still not very good at operating this dang thing. All right, so second caution of the feature here, as we are only 5 laps in, and so we've got Tyler Wilson and Connor Dudek, Joe Howe, Philip Croach, and Daniel Kelly, your top 5. Followed by Jeremy Weigel, Cale Halbert, McCartney, Alton, and Ney, rounding out your top 10.
Timothy Alton been kind of the receiver of good fortune here early on. He's picked up 8 spots already. We get ready to go green again. Tyler Wilson going to lead him down to the line. Green flag is out as we head to turn number 1. Battling into turn 1. A lot of guys stacking up. They're all keeping it great though. Everybody getting out of the gas there, doing a good job of lifting for each other, but that puts a big gap between really the top 4 cars and everybody else behind them.
Yeah, we've got a big stack up behind them. They're 2 deep for about 4 rows back, as they're now 3 wide and the caution out once again. So far here in the first 7 laps, we've had 3 cautions, and judging by what we saw in those first few heat races and those first couple consolations, a lot of people getting stacked up here heading into turns 1 and 2. Like we talked about at the beginning of the race, very, very easy to overdrive these corners, and you end up sliding up into people, or you get a run and somebody in front of you slowed up and then you slam into the back of them.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to slow this car down very well when it's nothing but slick out there. Part of getting slowed down is needing grip. So if you don't have any grip,
it's hard to slow down. Yeah,
it's hard to slow down.
It's not easy to stop when you're on ice. So yeah, you got it. Being able to maintain traction the entire time so you can have that maneuverability is really, really important. Especially like you said, when the track is this slick, you don't want to go diving into that corner and not being able to get yourself woed up, because unfortunately that's when you usually end up in the wall or in front of, into the car in front of you.
Truck getting ready to leave the track once again. It's still Tyler Wilson out front. He will bring us back to green. Earlier jump this time as he gets through the middle of 3 and 4. Everybody following in tow behind him into 1 and 2. A little bit more space between everybody into 1 and 2 that time. Looks like we're going to get through there clean this time by. Is again, Wilson is kind of just playing it safe on the bottom as he leads this race with not many green flag laps under his belt right now to kind of figure out the line he wants to run, I'm sure. But right now it's Connor Dudek getting the pressure put on by Daniel Kelly now to the inside at 3 and 4. Daniel Kelly and Philip Crowesh still with that no front wing, still holding on to 4th spot. But Connor Dudek trying to rip around the outside of the middle of the cars on the infield. And that will bring out the caution.
Yes,
on
it
the
will.
Front stretch. Trying to figure out who those guys were. It's Weigel and Kurt Nee. I think this one started back in turn 4 and kind of just continued on all the way to turn 1. Yeah, it was just Weigel getting a little bit loose on the exit of the corner of 4 and trying to correct the car with Kurt on his outside. Tapped him a little bit. They got him straightened out on the grass, but weren't able to get back on the track all the way without stopping completely, and that brought out the caution. Sometimes these wrecks are hard to find, so like Tommy said, forgive us guys if we miss them, but we'll try to find them and at least describe them if we're not able to go back, but on the video for you guys. But that one I was able to find finally, and kind of just a racing deal, and one of those things where this is lap 10 now. If I think this is their last chance to get their quick repair, right?
Yes, it is. Got to use it before lap 10. So everybody who's had some damage, if they want to get their cars fixed, now is the time to do it, because after this, if you pull into those pits, you're basically done for the night.
Kurt Nee and Jeremy Weigel do go get their fast repair that time. At least Kurt did for sure. So Kurt and Weigel were really fast up in the top 5, top 6 cars here. So
yeah, definitely a tough break for those guys.
If they can figure out a way to make some passes and get back out into some clean air and run the lines they want to get back on, they can find their way back up through this field. Still a lot of laps left. Still 20 to go once we get green here, but
yeah,
a lot of patience needed here. I think that was the fourth one in the fourth caution in the first 10 laps. So again, it's coming down to the front stretch in turn one. So we mentioned it early on, like we said, and that's where this race is won and lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, those guys were definitely fast, and 20 laps at Weed Sport is an eternity. So we'll see if they can make their way back up as Wilson brings us down to the green flag here on lap number 11 of 30, and he's got himself a lead. Connor Dudek and Daniel Kelly is looking to the inside of Dudek, trying to get that second place position, as Philip Croce is now coming to the outside looking for that third position from Daniel Kelly. So three-car battle here for second position in turn three. Dudek, Kelly, and Croce.
If Croce wasn't caught up in that early wreck, I think he's got the best car out there right now. Half a car at least. He's got no front wing, and he's still able to run it pretty wide open all over the place. But a caution getting into turn one, I think I saw that one. Try and go back and find it a little bit here, see if I can see it. This one was Christian McCartney and Ryan Wayshock. Christian slowing down, getting into the corner, and just a little bit too hot from Wayshock getting into the back of him there into 1 and 2. That's been the cautions every time, just a little bit too hot getting in behind somebody, and they go around and the yellow flag waves. But right behind them, who got through it, was Timothy Alton, who's kind of been the man with good fortune, as he's moved up all the way to the 8th or 9th spot, I think, here, and found his way through all the wrecks so far. That car looks completely clean, and he's got a lot of speed out there, because every time I check the laps and who's moving up through the field, it looks like Timothy Alton is one of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. He has been one of the faster cars here. He has, been running lap times consistent with the leaders. He's one of only a handful of guys who's been running consistent 15.5s. Most of everybody else is in the 15.6s, a couple 15.7s, but there's a group of them that are, around 15.5, 15.6, and he's been able to do it, and he's looking good and moving his way up.
Do believe the lights are out this time. The pace truck will pull off for us once again. And it's still Tyler Wilson, Connor Dudek out front of this one. And Philip Croce moving up 7 spots already with no front wing. Here comes Tyler Wilson as he leads them out of turn 4. Green flag underway once again into turn 1. Everybody smooth through so far. Back of the field, everybody's playing, and we're going to get this lap through. Tyler Wilson on into turn number 4 now. He's still running that bottom in 3 and 4. I think if somebody can find some confidence to go up to that cushion in 3 and 4, they might find some momentum to get around him. But there's a caution once again on the front stretch, this time coming out of turn 4.
That looks like a couple of guys just got together there, coming out of turn number 4.
This one just Sam Price a little bit really loose coming out of turn 4. Bryce Barris got lucky around that one and he got to the outside of it, but Larry Moody had nowhere to go. I don't think he ever saw Price coming down, and they both spun right on the front stretch there, and that brought out our caution once again.
All right, so just at the halfway point when we come back to green, as Tyler Wilson still holding on to that lead, followed by Connor Dudek, Philip Croce, Daniel Kelly, and Joe Howe. After Howe, we've got Cale Howbit, Washock, Alton, Schaefer, and Culbertson rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, Wayshock up 11 spots, Alton up 9. Culbertson up into the top 10. He's up 12 spots, so there is room to make passes if you can find it, and a few of these guys have shown that so far.
Yeah, they have definitely been moving their way up and just been, patient and letting it come to them. And you've got a fast car, you can do that. The key is just being patient. We've talked about it the whole night and letting the race come to you. And so we'll see if these guys can keep doing it as we are back under green as Wilson once again jumps out to that quick lead over Dudek, Croach, Kelly, and Hal, your top five. And down the backstretch into turn 3 as this time Dudek goes up high with Croach right behind him, looking to see if they can get a run on the cushion there. But Wilson's just too quick down that front stretch. He's able to get that drive off the corner and just pull away from him.
You can see Dudek getting into 1 and 2. I think he wants to run that slider line, but Wilson's slowing down to run the bottom, and that's what I talked about early on. It's hard to make that pass. Dudek's going to try all the way around the outside this time, but Wilson with a little bit more grip down there on the exit of 2. He's able to hang on for now. He's going to try the middle, and he's going to slow way up, but getting way sideways. He's going to lose 2 spots. Here comes Croach around him now with no front wing. He finds himself in second. Dudek, the leader, into turn 2.
Yeah, Dudek with the heck of a run as Wilson just slid up into the middle there and spun his tires in the slick, leaving the door open for Dudek and Croach. As now Croach looks to the inside, gets loose out the corner, trying to see if he can reel in Connor Dudek, your race leader now here on lap 20, as we're going to be coming down to 10 laps to go. As Dudek running the high side, he's definitely got something working there in 3 and 4. Like you said a few minutes ago, if somebody could run that cushion there, you thought it was there, and it's definitely showing right now as Connor Dudek's got it working.
You can see just how, that last lap for Connor Dudek, 15.394, the fastest lap of the race. He got out front, he's able to run that slider line that he's been trying to run in 1 and 2 all night, and then able to rip the cushion in 3 and 4, and the fastest lap of the race here on lap 21. And now we're heading down, what is it going to be, 8 to go this time by, and he's getting ready to come up on some lap traffic. It looks like if we can keep this one green, it might get a little bit more interesting, and as soon as I say that, I don't know why I did it, the caution comes out.
Announcer's curse, that happens. Probably our longest green flag run of the night, but you can see right there how much quicker Connor Dudek was when he got out in front. And I got to tell you, that's probably the last thing that Philip Croach wanted to see. I don't know if Croach is fast enough to just run down Dudek. If there was some lap track, it might have given him a chance, but it looks like Dudek, when he's got the clean air, he's able to run that slider line at 1 and 2 and the top at 3 and 4, and he just looks like to be the car to beat right now.
Yeah, this one can go green the rest of the way. There's no doubt in my mind that Dudek's got, I don't know how he feels in his car, obviously. It might not feel like the best car out there, but he's got the best line for sure. He's in clean air, he can do whatever he wants, and he's got a guy with no front wing behind him, and another one who hasn't ran that line that he's ran to get around him yet. So Wilson maybe not with the confidence that he needs to try and catch back up to these 2 guys in front of him. But you've also got Ryan Wayshock breathing down your neck in 4th now too, who's going to have another run at a little bit more clean air in front of him as he's in 4th, 14 spots up on this next restart here, and shown to be one of the faster cars early on. See if he can keep it up and see if he can make a couple passes here and give Connor and Philip a run for their money. As it's going to be, I believe, 8 to go. We go green.
We are underway here. 8 laps to go as Dudek jumps out into a really quick lead as Wayshock looks to the inside of Wilson coming out of turn 2, and it looks like he's got himself inside of Wilson there heading into turns 3 and 4 as Croach is in the wall. That might slow up Wilson and help Wayshock as we head down here into 1 and 2 as all 3 of the leaders now were running that slide line, trying to slide up there. Wilson or Wayshock was the one who actually kind of cut back down. He seems to be running kind of a little diamond line there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was a really smart restart for Wayshock that time. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to run probably what he wanted to run right away. So I think that kind of forced him in his mind to slow down more than he wanted to, but it was the right amount. He was able to stay in the grip and get all the way around Tyler Wilson. Now he's trying to find some grip on the bottom of 3 and 4 to catch up to Croach and get around him. Slider line for all 3 once again in 1 and 2. And now, it's just a battle of who can mess up. And if you got like that, Philip Croach again just over the cushion a little bit. I think that car is getting really tight for him into 3 and 4. We've got 4 to go that time by. The car getting really, really tight. No front wing for Croach. Trying to run the top in 3 and 4. Trying to just hang on to that podium spot right now. Tyler Wilson gonna have another shot at it though. Caution's gonna come out here again towards the back of the field. That one is Kurt Nee backwards again in 1 and 2.
Yeah, tough break for Nee in the 74 car, who had a good start to the feature there and has had some bad luck here in the second half of the race. But up front is Connor Dudek, but he is being followed closely now by Ryan Wayshock, who is definitely on a mission. He has moved up from the back of the pack. He's up 14 spots. Am I correct on that?
I think he started 18th. I think he's up 16 spots right now.
16 spots into that second place position. So he's definitely on the move. Dudek is fast. We'll have to see if Wayshock will have anything for him here, as we'll be coming to the green flag with, I believe it'll be 3 laps to go. So gonna have ourselves a little shootout here to end this race, as it has been an exciting one when we've had some green flag racing.
Yeah, Wayshock, I think he's still got a lot left in the tank to try and figure out where he wants to go. He just ran his fastest lap of this race, and it was a 10th faster than Dudek in front of him. So I think we've got a pretty good kind of green, if we can go green here, a little bit of green flag run to the end there. And, you know, a pretty good show waiting for us for these last, what did we say, 3 laps?
Yep, be coming down. It should be 3 laps to go, as the pace truck lights are off, as we are ready to go under green. This start is going to be super important for Dudek, as he gets out to a decent jump there over Wayshock, who's going to now try to reel him in. Just 3 laps to go.
A really smart restart for Dudek there. He's got all the grip down the front stretch on the bottom, and then used that to propel himself into turn 1. Now he's got a lot of momentum for 3 and 4 on that top side, more so than Wayshock's been able to run on the bottom. Wayshock, it looks like he's catching him in the 1 and 2, but Wayshock not willing to go to that top in 3 and 4, kind of just sticking through that middle, and it's hurting him coming out of 4 a little bit. We're going to have white flag this time by. We will finish this race on this lap. So Wayshock trying to get a run down the backstretch. I don't think it's going to have enough. Connor Dudek coming out of turn number 4 this time again, up on top. He will hang on to it. Checker flag that time. Dudek, Wayshock, and Croash going to be your top 3. What a run for Philip Croash to hang on to that third and final spot with no front wing.
Absolutely, to be caught up in that wreck on lap number 1 or lap number 2, and then to hold on with the front half of your nose and front wing missing. Awesome job by him, and an awesome run tonight by Ryan Wayshock, moving up 16 spots, coming from the B main and scoring a top 2 finish. Definitely a good run for him, and obviously a awesome run for our winner, Connor Dudek. So we're gonna get our top 3 here in the booth. At least that's the plan, if they come. And we've got our 3rd place finisher, Philip Croach, here in the booth. So Philip, do you copy?
Copy.
Well, Philip, you had an awesome run tonight. You got caught up in an incident there on lap number 1 when everybody got kind of clumped up there. You were missing the front of your hood and your nose wing. How did the race go for you after that, and how were you able to hold on there for a 3rd place finish?
Yeah, you know, I think the car held up pretty good even after that little incident. I was a little nervous, and but after we went green the next lap, the car felt still pretty stable and fast. So yeah, I was really pleased. Started to get a little squirrely in the end, but yeah, it turned out good.
Well, you had a heck of a run there, scoring a podium finish here in the first race of the season. Before we go, do you have any sponsors, friends, family, anybody like that you want to thank?
Yeah, you know, obviously you guys for putting on the SSR leagues. You guys have helped out tremendously to get where I'm at in the sim racing, and just joined the FSI motorsports team. So all those guys and all the guys over at NODAC Racing.
All right. Well, awesome run tonight, Philip. Thanks again, and good luck to you next week, and we will talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, so we've got our second place finisher, Ryan Wayshock, here in the booth. Ryan, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Hell of a run tonight. You moved up like 16 spots or something like that. Tell me, how was the car? It was obviously fast. What were you trying to do, and how were you able to move up so much throughout this race?
Well, I knew from practicing earlier in one of the SSR practices that people were either committing to the bottom or committing to the top. And there was a lot of real estate in the middle there that was definitely usable, especially late in the race. Even if it didn't really look like there was a line there, especially in the exit of 1 and 2, that middle had quite a lot of grip still late in the race. So I knew I was going to lean on that middle line a lot to get by people. But no, the car handled fantastic tonight, and I couldn't be happier with that finish.
Well, you were able to make it up, like I said, from the back of the feature up to second place, and you were actually getting your fastest laps there towards the end of the race. Uh, what did you find there at the end? Besides, were you just running the middle, the opposite of what everybody else was doing? Was that what you just decided to do at the end there, or what was? How did you find that line there at the end?
Well, I I did quite a lot of practice for this race, and one of the things I kept in the bank was the fact that late in the race you can run a high slider from the middle in 1 and 2 and grab that outer edge and be able to take off. And I tested the water to see if 3 and 4 was going to be slower up top. And right at the end there, before that last caution, I was catching Connor, and whatever he figured out in that during that caution, he ran absolutely perfect laps the whole rest of the race, and he was able to stay out around the outside of me on 3 and 4. But that was really kind of my last ace in the hat, was trying to beat him on the bottom in 3 and 4. But I knew that just patience and a little throttle control would have gotten me really far in this race, and I was happy to come out here with a plan and execute it.
Well, man, heck of a run. Second place finish here in the first race of this season. Before we go, do you have any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I always like to thank my girlfriend that allows me to continue to dump money into this, and Timothy Alton for being my right hand man, and keep me motivated and keep me looking forward. And obviously you and everybody at the SSR community is just such a great place for someone to come in and learn and flourish as a driver. And if you can't if you can't figure out what you need to know here, then maybe you're looking for the wrong thing. So I'm very happy to be a part of this community. I'm very happy to always represent SSR as someone who came up through the ranks, and again, just happy to come out here and compete with some of the best drivers.
All right, man. Well, once again, heck of a run tonight. Second place finish, and we will see you next week, and have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Yep. All right, joining us now in the booth, your race winner here for week number 1 of the 360 All-Stars, Connor Dudek. Connor, you got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, heck of a race, man. You were definitely fast there. What was your plan going into the race, man, and how did you execute it?
Thank you. I didn't know if the top was going to be good the whole race. I definitely knew it wasn't going to last in one the whole race, so I tried something different there at the start. And then towards the end of the race, I decided to move it up a little more, and that seemed like it worked out well. And the top through 3 and 4 was steady basically through the whole race.
Well, you could see when you got around Wilson there and you got into the lead that clean air was definitely helping you. That little slider line in 1 and 2 and the top there in 3 and 4, you were laying down some of your fastest laps of the night. Did you know that the car was working that well, or did you just feel comfortable and keep doing the same thing over and over?
I felt a lot more comfortable once I got to the lead because it allowed me to have all the room I needed entering 1 to slide up the track. I didn't want to run into the back of the 42 when I was in second, so being in the lead definitely helped a lot.
All right, man. Well, a heck of a start to the season, getting the victory there. Before we go, do you have any friends, family, or sponsors you want to thank?
I'd like to thank Garrity Supermarkets, Breakers Brewing Company, my buddy Christian Miller, and you guys for putting on the broadcast tonight.
All right, man. Well, heck of a run tonight. Congrats on the win. There you go, everybody. Your winner, Connor Dudek. And Connor, hope to see you next week. And until then, take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody.
I think Connor just confirmed it. That last question you asked him there, if he felt more comfortable getting out in front, and I talked about it early on with you that once you get the lead here, it's a lot easier to be faster than you could have been in second. So I think he, in his mind, going through that race, the situation played out perfect for him when he got in front and he realized that he could do whatever he wanted. He mentioned you can't just run into the back of the guy in front of you. Getting into that slider line at 1 and 2, and once you get clean air, man, it's just you set sail through that line and you can pull away.
Absolutely. So, heck of a run tonight for Connor Dudek, Ryan Washok, and Philip Croach, our top 3, all of them with phenomenal runs. Outside of the podium in the 4th place position here for our final finishing order was Tyler Wilson, followed by Jake Sonntag rounding out the top 5. Then it was Jordan Eder, Cale Halbert, Joe Howe, and Timothy Alton and Joshua Berkey rounding out the top 10. In 11th was Christopher Schaefer, Laboob in 12th, Garmin 13th, Culbertson, Prey, Barris, Weigel, Moody, Flick, and Evers, your top 20. And then we had Sam J. Price, Kurt Ney, Daniel Kelly, and Christian McCartney rounding out your A main event. So, good start to the season here at Weed Sport. Couple of cautions, but we had some good green flag racing as Connor Dudek gets the win, Ryan Washok in second, and Philip Croach in third. So, everybody, that will do it for tonight's broadcast. I want to thank you guys very much for coming out. Thank you very much, Shay, for joining me in the booth. Hope to do this with you some more this season. This was a lot of fun, man. So thank you very much for coming out.
Yep, appreciate you having me, and everybody, thanks for watching, and all the drivers that showed up. Thanks for putting on a good show, and Weed Sport always kind of a tough week, especially for a week 1. But like you said, we had some early bumps and bruises, but it got pretty good towards the end.
Definitely. So it should make for some good racing here, setting up the rest of the season. So, everybody, that'll do it. Thank you very much. I am, of course, Thomas Brandon. This is the Esports Racing Network, and this was the National Auto Racing Club All-Star 360. So, until next time, as always, I want to wish you guys good luck, good racing, and take